are getting into the lower bracket final. BLG versus T1 as we get into the draft. I'm Draco's joined by Kobe and Dag.
Cadê o Juqueira, mano? Quando eu faço live, o Juqueira não tá live, mano.
So, gonna keep up with the draft as we get through.
Yeah, super interesting to see. I expected the Lucian, I expected the Kante could come through for BLG, but the Maokai and the Vi also gone on the opposite side. Kobe, you were talking about a T1 heavy prio towards the
Vocês querem ver por essa live ou pelo CBLOL?
Really focus on the triple ban. The Wukong's a big problem, but now since they did the Jinx ban, you're also shifting through all of these mid laners with the Annie priority up as well for those instant engages. A lot of choices here for T1 on what to give up because the Annie Wukong as a combination has just been such a good snap engage combo. And they got the.
Oh, okay.
Kha'Zix vai e Maokai.
The bug? It's the bug?
It's the bug for
He
the bug.
He was invisible. He was just invisible. Just the alt proc.
Okay. This is the same thing that we saw yesterday from BLG though against Gen G. Game 1 they banned the Jinx, so then.
Mas ontem o Shun fez estrago com esse Wukong também, viu?
Deixa eu ver se tá na frente.
He can have a bit of success with that.
Tá igual.
But here, this is the genius of banning the Kha'Zix instead of the Wukong that we're mentioning with our jungle focus for bans, because you can only get one on blue side. They pick the Annie, they split those up, and then they go with the Rakan, so they can still have a really good snap engage.
Do que o Shun vai aqui?
With
De Kindred? Pelo amor de Deus, não, mano. Chega de Kindred.
This is not a combo that you want to give over, especially to a player like Carry, and have to see how On's going to match, because Lulu, yes, On looked fantastic yesterday, but it's not the same high-impact playmaker. That said, every time we're seeing this Jinx ban, it's not a Aphelios prioritized, it's an instant shift of the bot lane meta to kind of these secondary carries of this area, and I expect here the Xayah as well.
Yeah, I imagine it will end up going towards that. One of the big things that we saw was
de Kindred igual a 0 SKT. Cara, pior que o Shun é muito bom de Kindred, mano.
And the big turnaround that we saw for T1 in these fights was actually Carry on this Rakan, so it definitely feels like BLG are taking a page out of what JDG
Não, o Faker não vai de Nautilus aqui não. Ele tem que pegar mid de controle aqui.
And then if we look forward for bans here now for T1, definitely focus on jungle. I think that personally, the Poppy has been criminally underrated. Yes! They banned it out.
Poppy banida. Vai ser 5 ban na jungle, mano.
Then you're thinking, oh, maybe their next jungle ban will either be like Lee Sin or Viego.
Vai ter que ser Viego. Mas Viego não é tão bom aqui.
About all these Kindred plays and the Nidalee that people don't like. This is the player that is so good individually on those carry jungle champions. It's just that with an Annie, I don't think.
And to be fair, if he can't make it work, I don't think anybody can. But again, when there's a
Wukong on the end
based on what we saw yesterday, I would expect the Kindred to get one shot.
I'm curious to see what the bans are going to be from BLG though. I do expect them to go towards that top side. I thought it would be a Sion, more of that kind of, hey, we want to get rid of the tanks because we know Bin likes to play those more carry-oriented styles. I actually thought it'd be Bin who tried to the Kennen in towards the top side. So surprised to see that BLG are the ones that are actually getting rid of that. And we'll have to see
vai ser forçado a jogar de Viego aqui.
I think it would work out well, just making sure that these team fights are a little bit easier to execute on if you're straying away from those mega tanks.
The other two big AP picks that we have seen
be
banned away frequently. One is the Gwen, which has managed to make it through. Rumble is the other big one that we saw a bit of presence from, and then was essentially just removed from drafts.
And one of the big things when you have Annie on your team with the first pick Annie, and especially since the revealing is
pegaram Gragas ainda, tá ligado? Que seria possível jungler. Caralho, mano.
Because Merc Treads are so valuable versus this champion. Having those stuns and having that magic damage. If they pick the Gwen, Merc Treads value is to the moon.
And I think that's the big one here is, look, you still as Zeus get to kind of keep that flexibility. Gragas into the top side, you could end up putting it towards Faker. Mid lane, he played it domestically 7 times. So I think that this is what T1 are trying to go towards. It's like, hey, look, do you just go towards something like
Onde é o Switch? Como é que você tá?
So it looks like instead, Bin is going to go back
towards Você vai ficar Jax em cima de Gragas? Não, né?
Fine, even in the counter matchup against the Gragas. We saw him beat Doran in that matchup. We'll have to see if Zeus can have a better time now in this one.
Bin is Jax. I love this. Yes. Keeping the carries here at MSI.
Caralho, ele pegou Jax em cima de Gragas, mano.
Every interview, every new
Lissandra. Pô, a comp da T1 tá forte, hein, mano. A comp da T1 tá muito forte, mano.
A lot of utility, a lot of engage focus, and I think that just naturally is going to put more and more attention onto Guma, onto Owner to really be the big difference makers, because we've seen
posso sentir desse Jax é o Bin, mano.
You get the ball rolling, but if you fall behind, it puts that much more pressure on your AD carry to really step up.
And I think that lack of engagement is kind of the issue for BLG here. You're heavily reliant on Yagao to
essa comp da BLG escala mais.
Now for JDG, they end up playing it very, very slow. We're like, look,
mano, não escala tanto mais não, mano.
So we can continuously use this Annie engage.
É porque Zero Lulu é idiota, tá ligado? Mas a Rakan adversário também é muito
with this
forte.
composition, you kind of need to blow people up very, very quickly. So I think it's going to take a lot of
O Kong
coordination from BLG,
também
which
dá
hasn't
muito
always
dano.
been their strong suit.
Split second decision making is going to be critical for both these teams. Both of them do have those resets. Viego one side, Lissandra passive on the other side does a lot of work too. Very excited for this matchup. Should be explosive.
Que até um não prioriza. Mano, eu tava viajando aqui agora e eu pensei no negócio do Cebolão, mano. Tipo assim, pra jogar contra um time de Mono Champion, você não pode banir os champions deles, mas não tem regra falando que você não pode picar os champions deles. Só pegar Ramos contra o OFICIAL.
When I've seen drafts that have been suspect from BLG before, they've always managed to make it work. They just continue to defy those expectations, and we'll see if they're able to do the same as we get into game 1 here. BLG versus T1.
Mas você é ruim de Ramos? Eu tenho uma vitória no CBLOL de Ramos. Ele tem 0. Agora tá certo, tá certo.
BLG are trying to make that mega run like we saw in the LPL. See if they can get all the way back to finals.
I love how everybody's ready for any underdog story after DRX. Exactly. Everyone's just, yes, I believe, I believe.
E quantas derrotas? 0? Eu tenho um jogo.
Consecutive international tournaments, we've had a team like BLG or DRX who force you to believe. It's not like they're the favorites, and even today, I don't think they're the favorites. But despite that, they continue to surpass all expectations.
100% de hate, pois é.
Show up in the clutch, and that's kind
Pô,
of
quero ver esse Jax contra Gragas aí, mano.
To make it more fun. Ben to me is becoming an icon here, almost like Conor McGregor.
As Júnior estão tudo normal, só que o Viego não pegou na cidade, na rua. Entre o Kong e o Viego que é mais forte, o Kong é mais forte e mais fácil. E essa parte de ser fácil é bem importante, tá? E aí, Quiz Leone, obrigado pelo Prime, lindo.
Yeah, screw your meta. We're just going to do our thing. We're going to play our style, and we're going to make sure you have to beat us this way. And I think that's the coolest thing about BLG. Even look at this draft, right? You're not getting this, hey, we want to go for the mega carries in that bot lane, put all the beefy boys in front of them. It's like, no, we want to fight you, we want to get aggro, and we're going to make sure that you have to hands this us here.
And if they want to surpass expectations in this series, it's going to be a tall task, especially when we look at the bottom side. Guma Carrier,
caralho, sério. O Lulu é tão forte no level 1, né, mano? Só por causa da fadinha dela, é, né?
Has definitely been the center of attention in so many BLG games. If it has not been, it is always Elk, and Guma, a big weight on his shoulder in this game and in this series to outperform a player who's had a fantastic tournament.
Yeah, just ask KT from LCK about the T1 Xayah Rakan combination.
Yeah, I was going to say, Chronicler backstage, every single time it was even remotely hovered, was like, you cannot give these guys Xayah Rakan. They're way too good, they're way too clean. And I think that's going to put a lot of pressure onto Elk and on here to see if they can match up in the 2v2. Because if you can actually get this area into a decent spot and you can have her try and beat that big team fighter later, that's where BLG will be in a good spot, and that's where we can see just how good Elk can be.
And we saw yesterday, Bin taking care of business versus Doran versus the Gragas.
Baixa com um pouco, tá tapando a randa da
made the
Lu.
switch here to go
Aí.
for the grasp on the Gragas for
Tá de fadinha.
more healing even instead of the Comet.
O osso desse Jax contra Gragas é que ele pegou ontem contra o Doran e reensinou o matchup. É, então. O Bin é absurdamente bom, né? Mas, sei lá. Eles vão daivar bot?
Didn't quite tell the same story.
Yeah, especially when you look towards Bin. He has been... Oh, hang on.
Hold that thought. Dive on the bottom side. If Ellie's immediately going to get the setup, that's going to be a kill on
Caralho!
the can get the reset. Doesn't have tower aggro either.
Caralho!
Not going to keep the dive going. Huge in the early game from BLG to shut down this bot side combo. They're going to keep the dive. Carrier. Blinking health bars, might just fish for the reset. Shun! Oh, that's an obscene one you certainly cannot afford to make. Carrier still standing tall, still looking for the outplay. On taking as well! Oh, so damn clean from Carrier on the bottom side. At the end of the day, it's a 2 for 2.
Yeah, that tower heating up.
Esse time da BLG é bando de maluco, mano.
He was like, uh-oh, this is going to be bad. He flashes also for it. So BLG getting a little bit messy down there, but still... Mission accomplished. They got the dive off. They denied the Xayah a bit.
It's also the fact that they get the kill on towards Elk and they
Esses
get
caras
the
são tudo doido,
respond
mano.
to that top side, though. Bin has actually been
É
taking
dive, hein?
just half HP.
É dive. Isso aqui é dive. Não é não? Que isso, né? Que isso, era muito dive isso aqui.
Excellent start for BLG.
And BLG, they got the information. They know Wukong clearing up to the top side. So Shun comes in. The first kill, great. Very nicely done.
Mas por que ele virou a Xayah pra divar, tá ligado? Não tem sentido.
Minion dies, boom. Tower shots are on Shun. The other wave hadn't got here yet. And boom, just dies.
Pô, mas essa torre atacou rápido demais, não atacou não?
Carrier goes in for the knock-up. is able to get it as On is tanking.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't want to be, tanking these turrets as an AD carry or something when you change over as Viego, but...
As much as BLG have done incredible to get here, they have not been without suspect decision-making. I feel like once you've denied the resources from the carry, the dive can probably stop, but at the end of the day, still a 2 for 2, not a disaster, still a lot of CS denied from Guma. See what else they can do.
O Zeus tá jogando bem essa match, tá?
Has been mitigated somewhat by the response kills.
Yeah, as I was saying though, Zeus probably a bit higher rated by everybody than Doran, so definitely having a better time in here. Also had the jungle come on up. You see the deep ward there by Blue and Gromp. Love that one.
Quem teria coragem de divar o Gigabin? Eu.
We'll see that Gromp as Viego comes over.
Tá de sacanagem, tu acha que eu tenho medo desses caras? Tenho caralho, filho. Tenho nada a perder. Todo mundo espera que eu perca o jogo mesmo. Vou divar essa porra, que se foda.
In the lane phase, he's going to absolutely manhandle you, but out of the 3 times
Hold that thought, you're not allowed to talk about top lane while bot lane's fighting. Wait your turn. Okay, now you can go. Sorry, it's not me, it's them. They're not interested.
Look,
they're like, talk about us.
I am well used to LPL games at this stage. I know exactly where...
Ia tomar double kill? Ué, mano, pelo menos eu tentei. Não fiquei 2 dedos no cu e esperei perder o jogo.
Elk walking able to contest this. There's not really much of an angle, but maybe Shun commits the flash, or at least tries to find the follow-up fight. Only level 4 from Guma. Elk continuing to poke down.
Faker level 6, Faker level 6. Faker level 6.
Flash go for the engage, flash out from On. Now Annie can look for the re-engage with the knockup coming through. Yagao gonna flash out. Shun on the backside. Now looking to turn and burn onto Faker. T1 get the dragon, but it will cost them the life with their mid laner.
Duas kills pro Elk já, tá?
From BLG. You could see Shun wasn't sure if he wanted to get into the pit, had already burnt that flash, so couldn't get over the wall, and then you end up just T1 going, right, we'll immediately turn onto the 3 members of BLG, but they do a great job of kiting back and at least manage to get a kill.
Faker bagre? Eu acho que ele só fez isso pra garantir o dragão, tá ligado? Talvez. Não sei, tô tentando ser positivo aqui. Jax é bom contra Gragas? Não, na realidade Gragas é bom contra Jax. Mas daqui o Prazeri compensa um Drake? Compensa se você pegar alma.
When they see kind of the engage not go perfectly, once they get the anti-flash, they know it's time to back off. They get the dragon, they make the kind of safer trade in that equation rather than trying to continue the fight with Lissandra ult unavailable.
And you know what that means is big things for this Zeri. Zeri Lulu still really good scaling as you get towards the later stages and getting those early kills plus that one there picked up. A lot of concentrated gold is going to go far.
Definitely strong start.
Será que a Amy tá de mercado do futuro? Acho que tá. Não, tá de biscoito, tá de biscoito.
Bin gets beaten by Zeus on average. There we go.
There it is. They played 7 games. Bin's laning stats not good against Zeus. Important context to have. Took us 7 minutes.
Falou sobre anúncio pro achar? Não. Eu vou esperar mais gente entrar. Tá muito cedo ainda. Porque senão eu vou ter que ficar me repetindo.
Randomly thrown out stats bit by bit so we get having more action.
I appreciate you.
I think we need to make use of this superpower that you have there, because I like perma action. So
whenever the game slows down, Dag, I want you to start talking about Bin's stats.
His forward percentage.
Chega agora, como o Keren tem 2 kills e ninguém tem assist. Foram divar o Keren no bot.
Come back in your favor, right? And at the moment they're trying to see if they can jump onto Shun. Yagao covering though.
Shun. Got a pretty decent XP disadvantage. Level 6 for Owner now coming through.
Yagao.
That's the root going in. Remember, he burned the flash in the previous fight. Throwing down the bear early to try to get more space, but Owner now going to follow up. That's one on the side.
O Yagao errou o Tigers no Kong.
Clean pick for T1.
Wukong getting kills. I think everyone at this tournament is almost traumatized at this point. How powerful this champion will get. Brings so much to those team fights. And as you look down here, is starting up Rift Herald. Level 6 acquired by Shun off of his jungle though. Faker off of that kill will come over, lend that mid lane support, and since Yagao doesn't have teleport, should be T1 closing, but the bottom lane rotation is first from BLG. Zaya left on bottom side.
Bin now looking to follow up immediately, going to ult. Objective's still alive, but it's going to get picked up in the end. Owner now needs to make his way out. He's got no ult. Goes invisible, tries to find it, but Shun now looking for the follow-up. Take the jungler out of the equation. The recall still trying to get completed. Faker now forced the back way, but here comes Elk. Shun going to find one. Shun going to find the reset. Elk trying to get the chain lightning through to finish off Faker. Can't keep the dive going. Body slam. Where's it going to go? For now, they're being corralled under their tower. T1 got the objective, but they're not going to make it out with their lives. Turn the fire back is damn clean, but
tá bom, o Elk pegou a kill. O Elk pegou a kill.
Has one button and it's go forward. May have gone a little bit too far forward. underneath the tower, but BLG are still able to make it work. Yagao down on this bottom side to cover, but he does have to be careful. That's a lot of damage that can come out very quickly from the spot lane.
Instant engage on the bottom side. The Annie gonna get cut down. The feathers coming back. The root, but not enough to finish Yagao. Yeah, Gunaway continuing to step forward, taking the towers. Yagao needs to make it out, but again, he is flashless, and he is knocked down.
Caralho, mano.
They get the Rift Herald and they get the bottom lane dive. They left Guma on the bottom side to mine turret plates. They get Garia back down there to make the assassination as well. That is huge. A lot of kills there for the chase on BLG though on the top side. And
foram duas barricadas pra Zay e uma kill, certo? O Elk pegou uma kill só. Nenhuma barricada.
Get the answer on the kill, but here's another look at it. T1 trying to be a little bit greedy. Finish this one while also going for the bottom
side
play.
Smite, mano.
I was surprised. I think Shun did not have Smite there as it got down to 18 health.
Ele usou o Smite pra pegar level 6 no Gromp. Cara, olha o Elk aqui, mano. Dive nessa porra. Olha que maluco.
Whereas he starts to go underneath here, tries to stop the resets, flashes forward, miscalculates, and a great flash from Zeus there to immediately get the turnaround the second he sees Elk go that bit too far forward.
Mas o Elk jogou bem, o Elk jogou bem.
Gold lead in favor of BLG for now. It is a Dragon and the Herald in favor of T1. Focus on the Faker. Faker, the Claw.
Oh, closing.
Clutch timing to make it out to safety.
Yeah, on trying to combo there with Lulu Ultimate, try and keep that Lissandra CC'd so he's not able to get Claw or Ultimate off, but Faker escapes with his life. Owner might pay though. There's a ward inside the brush.
Miss coming in. Shun not able to take the objective, but now going to follow up. Owner, is he going to be forced to burn the ultimate here to escape? Now he'll be fine. Not nearly enough damage from the Viego yet. But
o Shun já data de ruptor, tanto ele quanto o Owner. Mas o ruptor do Kong não dá, mano, muito forte. Já viu um hate do Faker de Lissandra? A gente viu, a gente viu. Para de torcer pro chinês e a volta da puta. Cara, eu tenho o watch party da LPL, mano. A LPL é minha liga favorita. Não é impossível não torcer pra eles, mano. Assim, eu posso não torcer pra BLG, tá ligado? Mas pra JG eu tenho que torcer.
Favor of Elk. Thank you, observers. 1.2k advantage, massive. Not turning into an item advantage yet, as he has not spent a lot of that money. So maybe T1 feel like they have a window to contest here, but no setup. Yagao already covering the angle to the river. It's going to be a tough contest. Owner now walking in. The objective already gone. Faker, claw in. Might just want to keep this one going. Can they get Elk out of the fight? But Yagao with the counter engage.
Nossa senhora, mano.
Now the reset coming in for the jungler. The Viego is going to take over the fight. Yagao is still standing. He goes golden. Been trying to find his way into the backline, but it is all falling apart for T1. As Shun just tears through on stepping forward. The Lulu empowered by the Annie shield. They're going to keep it going. One more reset for Shun. Taking Gumayushi's body. Taking his soul. Taking the fight in the triple as well.
It's a triple for Shun. And when the chips are down, Yagao manages to come out once more. He had some really clutch charms yesterday. And now in the Annie, he's showing up again.
Dacta, those resets. We said it, champ select. Whoever.
Era melhor ter banido o Viego do que o Sejuani, hein? Era melhor, hein? Eu acho que a T1 tá precisando de mais ban na jungle aqui.
Yagao with the flash in, lays down the Tibbers. Shun, even though he executes on the clone, still able to finish off Owner over there.
Imagina, tu bane 5 jungle e tá no jungle gap. Ah, isso aqui não é jungle gap, né, mano? O Owner fez o papel dele, o Shun também. É que jungle gap é muito relativo, né, mano? Competitivamente falando, tipo, na solo que beleza, só que no competitivo jungle é totalmente dependente de lane. Quer dizer, eu insisti em jogar contra a N? Não sei, mano. Eles queriam banir 5 jungler, por isso que não baniram a N.
T1 who went for the aggressive engage, BLG firing back with that counter engage. T1 certainly going to
Zaya
more in the fights to come, but it's hard now.
Zaya
Golden continue to mount against them. Divine Sunder completed for both topsiders. Good news, Owner not too far behind in itemization overall, but it's tricky to play out these fights.
O Elk é muito bom, o Elk é muito bom, mano. E há quem diz que ele é fraude, mano. Maluquice, sério. Eu acho que esse foi o maior surto de 2023.
Owner with the Divine Thunder already there with Faker can easily kill one of these members that are low.
And T1 do have a lot more options for engage as we've gone over here. It doesn't have to just be.
É, mano, eu falei, Nathan. E se eu faço live, o Juqueira não faz, né, mano? Que merda.
popped
Que
here.
isso?
Yagao not gonna connect
N
the
de
stun will walk away,
coroa?
but again, we're seeing a lot more Crown in the Shattered Queen
Caralho.
over the last 2 days, mitigating some of these upfront burst damage. But here's the counter engage.
Bizarro que quem assistiu LPL sabia que o cara era bom. É porque, tipo, eu não sei se vocês sabem disso, tá? Mas a LPL não é uma liga tão popular aqui no Brasil.
Massive stuff here for BLG.
Huge. The fact that Shun ends up getting so many of these resets and kills as well is just massive. Getting this Viego ahead, especially when he'd already had that little bit of an upsee in the early stages, but Yagao going down for it, I think this is going to help out huge in that jungle matchup. Also, just the fact that Yagao ends up burning his flash at that Dragon Pit means that by default
teve ano, acho que foi 2020,
so I think a lot of this is going to be a case of again,
eu peguei os dados da LPL e da LCK, e, tipo assim, a LCK tinha 300% a mais de views brasileiros do que a LPL, tá ligado? Foi bizarro, assim. O Brasil não conhece a LPL, só conhece a LCK.
If you get the Rakan to actually CC them and have that AoE follow-up damage there to really set up Owner.
BLG poking, not looking to give T1 the opportunity to group, to refocus, to use all of that CC together, continuously trying to split them up. Zelk steps forward. For now, eyes on the second Herald. T1, okay vision as they're able to drop a ward over the wall and at least know that it has not been started by the side of BLG, but BLG fighting for mid-priority.
T1 have set up the map well. You can see Faker pushed in topside though, and now that gives them that angle to come in from that top end of the map. Gumayushi and Zeus are here to just continue to clear out mid, so while this is a bit of a standoff, it is actually BLG falling behind because they haven't put Bin or Yagao down on spot side because they're lacking that teleport.
You just try to force in here, but Owner walking in the darkness, fishing.
Long flank.
Elk isolated for now, has to be careful. Ben stepping forward, Ultra Shock Laser not going to connect. Staying in the darkness. Faker ready to come in as well right now, as you highlighted. T1 continuing to get advantages. Entire waves are being deleted on the top side while BLG debate what the option is. They're trying to find the flanker. They found him.
Secret Agent Owner has been exposed.
Needs to get out, needs to wait for the clone to body block the stun. Is going to try to make it out, but he's just going to get taken down. Jungler off.
Mano.
The Herald is that much easier. Now Yagao might just try to keep the ball rolling here in the mid lane.
And BLG also making the call to pull off the Rift Road while they waited the extra few seconds for Yagao's flash. Now Yagao has flash right back up for Annie. One of the most critical summoner spells for this team. They find Owner in the back, trying to get his super long flank off, and now they're going to get the rewards of being able to start up the Rift Herald themselves.
And there's Dragon in a couple of seconds, so there's an opportunity here for BLG to shove out waves, have a quick reset before Owner comes back out onto the map, and then contest for this Dragon once more. A lot of vision from both sides has been invested into that top lane, so with T1 kind of giving up this Rift Herald, they should actually be able to move down to the spot lane and establish themselves, but we'll have to see if they're even going to bother here as BLG.
Cara, como é que o Bin tem mais farm que o Gragas, mano?
Deny cannon! Deny cannon!
Just auto it! Hit it whenever you want, Bin.
Não faz sentido, tipo, ele tá de Jax contra Gragas, mano.
T1 are on the bottom side, they're starting the Dragon, so instead the focus being put on the top side, BLG, it seems just going to look to reset, not trying to capitalize on that window of opportunity, not trying to over-push on a tempo advantage.
And I think that was the big one, the fact that T1 had that reset because they weren't investing time into the Herald.
A LPL dá pouquíssimo valor pra dragão, né, mano? Bizarro isso, velho. Eles preferiram pegar até um do top do que fightar esse Drake.
Oh, the double daggers, the feathers hitting Yagao, taking away that crown of the Shattered Queen is big, making the follow-up dive that much easier. But for now, they're just going to call it off. They got the Dragon on the bottom side, Owner returning to his own jungle to farm up. Right now, 3K, 4K gold lead for BLG, 2 Dragons to T1, but have to see where the next avenue of attack is going to be. Expect this game, like every other game this tournament, to be mostly about the 5v5s, believe it or not.
And who gets the star in those? It is the 80 carries, my friend. Currently with the item advantage here. With all
Caralho, 2 Iter na zero, mano. É F arco escudo, né, mano? Saudades.
Rifttrail dropped in mid though to get that coveted mid lane priority. It is so powerful in setting up way before these objectives arrive.
Right now, though, Faker looks to be the one trying to find the second angle on the Shun, but he's unstoppable. He's trying to make it out. They need to burn through the Viego as quickly as they can, denying the resets. Faker finding a reset of his own. The Frozen Brawl not going to find any purchase, but Elk on the backside. Elk untouched for now. Faker going golden. The follow-up should be there from the side of BLG, looking to lock him down. Faker making it out to safety. The Claw getting him out of the fight.
Yagao, mano, o Yagao, tipo, tem umas horas que parece que o Yagao, ele não quer jogar o jogo, tá ligado? O Yagao, tipo, ele conseguiu errar o W, o ult.
Really keeping you on the edge of your seat there. He barely gets out alive, but with we got to see from T1 that minor adjustments where they had the Rakan engage with the Lissandra engage to get the actual kill.
And I think that's what, the big one, the fact that they're trying to make this work, but just couldn't quite do it. And then Elk at the end, I mean, I think at least the difference maker here is that Elk survives, whereas Jackie Love traditionally wouldn't. For T1, they're a little bit annoyed at that. Good opportunity here.
Tinha que ter flashado aqui, não?
Trying to play for tower, they just go for it. But watch Bin here. Big stun, which prevents so much of the follow-up from coming through, which means Elk is able to actually push forward. But it's very difficult.
Olha legal. Só olha pro legal.
Try and burst through this gap with Yagao TPing in to actually get access to Elk.
Yeah, BLG have been very, very adamant at looking for even 4v5 plays if they know you have used all of your initiation. As Elk is able to flash over, slide through the wall. We've all been there trying to kill the Zeri, shield bow, plus that much mobility. But the real important thing there is that time, T1
essa é a disputa pelo terceiro lugar? Não. Aqui é o time que vai enfrentar a JDG na final. Tá ligado?
As you said, they knew they had to back off after that, after expending so many cooldowns for themselves.
Baker on the top side. Just going to try to clear this wave, but I think it's so important. I think Shun and Elk have to be your priority targets because we've seen Elk in the earlier fights, even when he wasn't dealing a ton of damage, it was Shun with the resets. And while the sound resets are
já o Guma vai fechar a lavoura, hein?
And T1 kits are just incredibly oppressive.
I think one of the big things as well was, like, even though it wasn't intentional, Elk did get the TP out from Faker, so now you don't actually have that TP available for Faker to try and have T1 play side lanes that little bit easier. And the fact that Yago had to burn his TP to get in as well, it's going to make things just that little bit easier for BLG trying to play out the map state when T1 have been playing that better than them this game.
É, eu não acho que o Guba tá jogando mal não, Neto. Eu acho que, tipo, as fights não são muito favoráveis pra ele, tá ligado? Porque, tipo, o Rakan tá tendo que entrar com a Lissandra e o Kong. Ele meio que fica sozinho, entendeu? E, tipo assim, o Jax mata ele. Então ele tem que tomar muito cuidado. Ele tá jogando com cautela só, eu acho. E aí, Killer, vieram 18.
Carries, AD carries, and teamfight meta is that it puts more of a magnifying glass on those initiations and on the front line for these teams.
Então vai ter que se adaptar pro jogo da BLG? Vai. Mas a T1 é boa nisso. Caralho! Que isso, mano? Que dor, velho.
We are about to get that extra level for Zeus, though, at his 10 stacks for his Rod of Ages soon, so he's about to get his spike.
Of course, the lane gets a little bit harder once Divine Sunder comes around, and there's that much more sustain for Bin. Part of the reason why you see.
A Zeri não tem lavoura ainda, mano. Se a T1 quer ganhar uma fight, é essa fight aí. Tem que ser essa fight. Se a T1 perder essa fight, pra gente acabar o jogo.
Completion points here that are very big. T1, you want to make use of big ability damage for Gumayushi. His quick plays are done as Keria is able to slip away, but Xayah quick blades are quite big for the big blade caller that they want to wombo combo with all that CC.
And T1 were trying to play off of their vision there, but they hadn't actually spent the bush properly. Owner on the Pixel brush was caught out, so BLG were like, cool, we don't actually need to try and engage onto this or push forward. We can just threaten mid. And the second they do, T1 have to back off. And now it's BLG that have control over the river, and you can see, nice from the observers, how dark it is for T1 to try and move in there.
Dark and an Ocean Rift as well, so extra brushes to worry about. Right now, Yagao looking for the setup is just going to try to immediately find two. There's no follow-up, but it will force the ult.
Ah, Guma, pô, tu usou teu ult nisso aí, mano. Gragas perdeu o flash agora. Ó o owner.
Owner fishing for the flank, this time unspotted, this time BLG not sniffing him out. Will it be enough? The Ultra Shock laser, they know that he's coming, they get the objective.
Oh, Owner?
They might just look to turn onto Owner. Elk still standing for now, immediately gonna ult, immediately gonna look to burn through Owner. Bin on the backside, fishing for a stun, but he won't find much. Faker now trying to re-engage on Elk.
Faker.
Gonna be in trouble with the stun, but there is no follow-up. Elk for now uncontested, Guma uncontested, both 80 carries doing everything they can to try to shift the fate of their teams, but it has been looking for the stun.
Ah, mano, olha o Bin, mano. Olha o Bin, mano. Olha o Bin, mano. Quase dando um V9 no jogo, vai se fuder, mano. Esse cara é muito bom, mano. Caralho, mano. Moleque, sem sacanagem. Mais um item pro Elk, mais um item pro Bin e eles ganham esse game, tá ligado? Tipo, aí é mais um item e não tem mais o que fazer.
The initiation did get the full flame from Owner. They saw him really early on the control ward, so they knew he was coming around that angle, and Elk being able to able to survive.
O On tava muito mal posicionado, mano.
Look at the chase down.
Faker just bought so much time. Elk wasn't able to get into this fight, whereas Guma Yushi is in a position where he can actually start
O Shun e o On jogaram muito mal, muito mal.
That's coming through for Guma as well. And Bane, I cannot believe he can't get this last auto attack. I'm pretty sure if he actually manages to get that, this could be a very different fight. You've got the shields coming through from Yago into Elk, but with all four members of T1 still standing, there's not much that Elk can do as they start to engage. Even just barely missing.
Pô, mas deu muito dano esse W do Gragas aí, hein, velho.
But it doesn't matter.
Caralho.
T1 still come out on top.
E aí, Pimentel, bom dia.
Area keeping Guma alive up there, only to get that chase down. Then Yagao peeling there with Elk. Now we're right back to live, though.
2-2 in Drakes, 1K difference. This is about as close as this is ever going to get. Both sides looking, fishing for an angle. Zeus in the darkness.
Só que agora a BLG tem 2 itens já. No Jax, na Amy, no Viego. E 3 itens na Zero, né?
Convincing teamfight win could end the game. We've seen T1 do it, just immediately run down the mid lane with any kind of significant advantage. And in the same
O farm do Guma tá muito melhor que o farm do Elk.
And the thing is, you have so many more options.
Um de farm a mais nesse ponto aí.
Because you have more options, you've got more flashes that could actually set up that engage. Carry still has his. Faker taking a claw and a flash in. Whereas when you look across at BLG, it's only Elk who still has that flash up and available. And as we get to the 25-minute mark, you know T1 are looking at Barrett. You know they want to try and bait BLG into that situation. And if you're walking in blind as BLG, T1 are going to happily jump on top of you.
But it could easily swing the other way as well. Now that they've got Elk on 3-item power spike, he's been slightly ahead of Guma this whole game. Now he's got his quick blades with his shield bow as far as the Randuins goes. So Elk definitely, he could have that high again. These team fights are so explosive,
no Gragas,
so
tu gosta?
exciting here.
Eu achei inteligente, mano.
To support the split push, but
Tipo, eu não entendo porque tem muita gente que dá hate no Zeus, mano, mas eu acho ele muito bom. Tipo, eu acho ele muito inteligente, tá ligado? Tipo, eu não gosto dele ter fechado o Morello. Eu acho que o Morello é um item ruim. Mas, de maneira geral, eu acho que o Zeus, tipo, raramente erra em build ou, tipo, erra em matchup e tal. Eu acho ele muito bom. Muito bom mesmo.
And then feel really comfortable, because then you've got your Xayah ultimate, plus you've got that big shield. Red buff on Guma, they're going to feed him the mid wave. Mid lane priority, once you shove this in, then
o Kong fechou 2 itens agora, a Xayah tá perto do terceiro item dela. Na BT fica melhor pra ela bater também.
I will say though, I'm surprised the way the BLG are setting up on the map. Jax is now moving into that top side to split push, but Jax has TP.
O rage não é nos Zeus, é nos itens. Não, nos itens eu concordo, Morello não vale a pena mesmo.
But BLG really haven't been utilizing Bane as effectively as they could be, not only just at MSI, but across domestically as well.
Triste ser jungler, né? Tu começa a galinha, sua D vai lá e pega. Tu vai pro lobo, sua D tá lá fazendo.
Exactly. What we just saw is they use that T1. They get their preemptive vision here in the
Ninguém fez guinso?
then they can come back.
Porque esse patch aqui é o patch antigo ainda.
42 seconds left on it. The timer on the setup here for T1 is towards Dragon, and they have this straggling ward on there, just to see if there was a BLG answer to try and quick pull.
And it looks like BLG are basically trying to pull T1 out of that position. Say, hey, look, we can
Ele já tá full build teoricamente, teoricamente.
T1 are now starting to get.
E tem será que o Jax faz agora as zonas?
And those wards I just pointed out in the jungle.
Agora, detestei essa build da NA de coroa, mano.
Could be spots for Faker to teleport and go for a flank on with this Lissandra with flash.
They just saw the 2 resets coming through from Elk and on, which is why T1 now very aggressively moving in, even going down potentially towards this bottom side to see the Jax, but they're happy to step it up. They know the Elk and on aren't in a position here.
Finn starting to hover in, Shun in the darkness in the mist, trying to find an angle into the pit. Trinket's now coming out. They've got a decent idea of the health bar. Ultra Shock Laser coming in as well. He's trying to steal it, but Kuma able to grab
muita
it.
Pena.
Dragon for the side of T1.
3 itens na Xayah, mano. Vai ser difícil matar essa Xayah, hein, velho.
And now they get to move across into this top side and re-establish all that vision that we were talking about. Big mistakes from Elk and on. They end up getting caught on the reset. They spot them out, and T1 are like, fantastic, we know this is a 3v5. We don't have to fight, we can just take the objective.
Exactly. T1
smite azul pro Honor, smite verde pro Shun.
Seconds making a difference on their setup. The travel time on getting there, you can't be a few seconds slow on these objectives.
O Yagal faz coroa todo game? É porque, tipo assim, se é pra fazer coroa zonas, vocês não acham que é, tipo, muito ruim, não? Coroa e zonas? Tipo, parece que ele é só uma máquina de stun agora, ele dá 0 dano. Eu vi isso aí, Coringa, eu vi. É horrível, pois é, melhor ficar mal fight também, acho.
The Zeus ultimate when he gets a death cap here. The big bomb on this Gragas.
Pegava caçante mid, pois é.
Working on his death cap here to try and combine those two rods.
Tá. O Zeus tá fazendo rabadão.
And again, credit to Zeus and credit to T1 because BLG had a pretty significant gold lead for a decent portion of this game, especially after that bot side dragon fight where they re-engaged, but clawing it back through good fighting and in no small part due to Zeus.
A Zeri vai dar B pra antes, depois é só ir pra fechar BT.
Split pushing is just so good. The Rod of Ages plus T1.
JP Júnior, obrigado pelo prêmio, querido.
He's level 17 now.
Por isso o Morello fica bom. Ele dá vida sobre o defeito rabadão. Ah, não gosto não. Me desculpa, mas eu não gosto não desse Morello aí. Rabadão pro Gragas e o Jax não tá fazendo GA, tá? Ele tá fazendo zonas mesmo.
Push them the entire way in, and when you're in that position, it becomes very easy then for Faker to just kind of make these map movements where you can just push in top and immediately drift.
E a Zeri fechou BT também. O Guma fez QSS para sair do stun da N. Legal, gostei.
Force TPs from BLG, and it's just a rinse and repeat for T1 that becomes super difficult for BLG to deal with. And it's just BLG not playing the map well.
Gal fishing, trying to take the Gragas out of the equation. He's got no defensive items. He's running out to safety. Now the re-engage coming. Bin, will he fully commit?
Lançou o ult da Zaya. A Zeri tá estacada, mano. Tem que sair disso. Que isso, Elk? Caralho, o Elk é maluco, mano. Ele flashou pra dentro. É isso. Eles vão ter que ir pro 50-50 no bar agora, não?
Both AD carries have no summoners or no flash.
Tá melhor pra ter isso agora, pô.
Not having access to that ultimate as we might be looking to go.
Making it out over the wall, luxury of this pick. Part of the reason they prioritize it over something like Aphelios, the safety, the reliability it has just to escape those scenarios. But I think frustrating for BLG, they burn so much to force Zeus away. Zeus walks back with full health and it just forces them out immediately.
All right, both AD carries too do have cleanse options. Elk with the summoner spell, Gumayushi with the Quicksilver Sash purchased here. Is down a DPS item, but does have
o Elk não tem flash agora, mano. E o Viego tá fazendo handwing. Jax fechou zonas, será? 1 minuto pro Drake, fechou zonas. 3 itens Jax, 3 itens Gragas. Só que o Gragas tá muito forte, não? Level 17 com 10 stacks na rua e na MSI. Porque tá fazendo rabadão também. Interessante escolha. Vale mais pro Faker lutar 0 com Cleanse ou N com coroa? Vale mais ele se ultar no meio de todo mundo. Faker vai ter rabadão. Mataram os Zeus, mano.
The Gragas body stolen, the shutdown coming through. BLG priority access to the pit, but Owner still waiting over the wall. Shouldn't will he go over? Will they keep this one going? Bin looking for an opportunity to reset. He lost a decent amount of health. BLG, eyes on the prize, eyes on the Baron. Debating if this is an option for them. T1 ready to contest this 4v5. Bin isolated onto the side. Charm coming out. Flash out to safety. Isolating the Jack.
Gastou ult, hein?
3K getting lower. It's a 50-50.
Ai, o Owner jogando LOL,
Owner being
mano.
isolated. Owner being knocked away. Elk untouched on the backside. Baron getting lower.
Ai, o Owner no bottom. Owner no bottom.
Wants to get out and he's gonna take it. He steals it. He does not care for the fight. He wants the objective. Carry and Guma on the retreat. Bin going golden. Buys a moment. BLG have to re-engage. BLG have to take
a Zeri.
T1. Elk running forward. Guma gonna find the stairs onto 2. Just desperate to disengage. Will give his life so the remaining members of his team can escape. It is a heist for the side of T1, but they walk away with the Baron.
The chase is still on though. The
Cara, o Faker pegou o Smite no livrinho e smitou junto do Owner pra pegar o Baron com 2k de vida, pô.
Several of those kills, they would get the third dragon, but T1 managed to steal that Baron so well.
Dang, T1
Caralho,
really love flipping Barons. Owner just walks in 2,900 health, and they themselves bully it down.
Agora, eu fiquei surpreso que eles engajaram no Gragas e o Gragas morreu tão rápido, mano.
They're not even mad. Let's take a look though. This is after Bin gets completely pushed out of the fight. Now he has no E, he has no flash. Carrier used the ultimate to do it.
Olha.
Gets a knock up onto Shun. He goes into the Zonias, then just walks in. Shun flashes away from the Baron. So Shun, Owner was like, okay, if Shun just flashed away, let's try and finish it.
O Faker deu flash e smite, mano.
Even as Shun tries to get back in there and Faker the sacrifice, but
Nossa,
then the rest
jogou
of them.
bem.
Also, Guma usually laying down these feathers, trying to chase them out. Getting 3 members low. Elk doesn't care though. He charges forward with the support of that Lulu.
And it's a good call from T1 because in theory, we already hit on it. BLG don't have a lot of ways after Yagao to really close the distance, but it's just the speed ups coming through from the Lulu making it so tough to get away in that situation.
Caralho, olha o dano dos dois ADs, mano. Olha o dano do Kong, coitadinho.
In that fight. Insane damage from Gumayushi, but not quite enough.
What was it that Chronicler said about Gumayushi carry and Zyra Khan? Did he say give it to them? They're not very good. I can't. Seems like they're pretty sick on the pick, and you can see even if BLG take the fight, T1, that was a wild play. If that had failed, that would have looked like one of the most catastrophic failures in the event. But they steal the objective, they get out, they keep the Barons up on 2 members. Incredible stuff.
But the thing is though, you're up against Elk and On. Elk has a 71% win rate across both MSI and his domestic region on this pick. It has been such a big
Caraca, 71% de win rate de zero, mano. O Elk tem.
Approaching full build now at this stage.
Vale a pena forçar alguma play enquanto o Elk tá sem cleanse?
To see if they can take down T1. But with T1 having that Baron, it makes it a bit tough now for BLG.
Não, porque a Lulu tem cadinho já, não importa o cleanse. O Elk vai fazer Gumi, Lash Whisper. Ele começou pelo crítico. Só que o Guma continua muito forte, mano. E o Faker tá de rabadão agora, ele não tinha naquela fight.
Zeus keeps walking up, the Gragas gets chunked out the first time, then he gets taken down the second time, leading to the whole scenario.
O Bin queria dar B porque ele perdeu muita vida. E ele tinha TP.
Closing for now for BLG, gonna have to find those angles, but flashes back up, you highlight it. Yagao got away without needing it in the previous exchange. If he can find an angle to lock down some of the squisher
members. Cara, tá The Carry. Caralho, é o gol do Zeus, mano. O Zeus tá 2 de gols na frente do Bin, como? Caralho.
BLG don't care if it's the front line. Fine, Zeus, you're the one face checking, you're the big Gragas, don't care.
It does feel like the best way to do this, though, as T1 is to actually try and get control over mid, which we're kind of seeing, and then drift across into here. You already have Faker pushing down this bottom side as well. So as long as you can set up your vision control in that little area, it becomes very hard then for BLG to actually move in. And your
maneiro esse mapinha aí, podia ter isso no CBLOL, né?
You now establish the vision, which you can see going in already. Like from
Olha isso, o Guma foi fazer o golem do Owner, mano. Caraca, a jungle é uma merda, mano. Essa nova geração de AD da China é absurda, Liv e Elk é muito boa mesmo.
All right, are we going to get a Zeri moment though? Because we've got a full build Elk. He has 2 answers for the CC that comes from T1. The Mikhail, the Cleanse. He's got 3 actually.
É alma pra qualquer um que pegar, né?
How many questions do you have answers for? Well, all of them. He's got the entire test written down, the key. Elk will be completely free in this fight. So many answers. Now the only hard thing is not doubling up on those cleanses.
Have to have that discipline in the fights, not to waste cooldowns, not to overlap, to layer the CC perfectly. It's going to be all about execution for both sides, fishing for those angles. Owner and Bin trading blows on the bottom side of the river. 50 seconds till the soul will spawn for either side.
Quase que não pega o
to give it up. I think especially crucial for T1 to take it away. They have so much upfront burst damage. If they cannot delete a health bar, find a reset, find a quick pick, this game gets so much harder. It's a similar story on the opposite side for BLG as Shun and Bin just look to take some space here in the river.
Yeah, and both teams know it. Stopwatches, Guardian Angels being purchased, Zonias to try and deny those resets. They know if a frontline member goes down, then you start getting resets coming through. BLG though,
como mata essa Zeri? Ah, dá pra matar, mano. Gragas, o Kong e Lissandra, mata. Só tem que acertar tudo e o cara não pode usar nada. Na real, eu acho que você tem que matar ele em 2 tempos. Eu acho que a primeira pessoa que tem que morrer aí é a Lulu. Se a Lulu tá viva, a Zeri não morre.
So he can be very aggressive on the Zeri, trying to get health chunks on people. He's gonna be the one leeching the dragon.
Owner on the flank. trying to get over the wall. Yagao looking for the engage, just trying to take Zeus out of the exchange. Zeus
Cara.
still standing strong. This deal!
Olha,
The Ocean Soul owner does it again! Masterclass, the heist coming through, and BLG now desperate, trying to force a fight, trying to get T1 out of this map.
Owner! He knew what he was doing all along with that Baron. He steals the Baron. He comes in, he steals the Dragon.
Mano, meu Deus, cara.
T1 hugely favored in the fight now. Ocean Soul massive against a lot of this upfront damage.
Caralho.
Burned a lot of his abilities already. They're looking to lock down Zeus, but Zeus just healing up,
Opa.
healing through it. Elk on
Quer?
the backside for now. Keep your eyes on the 80 carry. The knockback only into the wall, not into the waiting arms of the rest of the team. Faker stunned.
Ay,
Faker about to
Faker.
fall. Will fall as he comes out of this one. Not a lot of tools left. He's going to use the
Opa.
second stopwatch effect to try to live as long as possible. Off on the side is Elk.
Tá
But he's
bom.
stealing from the rest of the team. The
T1.
shutdown coming through. The
É
reset now
T1.
coming through. T1 taking the fight, taking the soul.
É Barão da
looking to
T1
grab the
aqui,
Baron
tá?
as well.
Guma's positioning in that fight was so damn good. He was over the wall. You could see that Bin was trying to get access to him, but always had the members of T1 beside him. And now T1 onto the Baron. Elk trying to step up, but there's just no way in. T1
Mano.
steal Baron, steal Dragon, and now get a Baron for themselves as well.
So much of this game has been neck and neck. Guma and Elk both showing up in the fights. It is Owner ultimately who is the difference maker. The stolen Baron, the stolen soul. He has been so incredibly clutch for T1 in game one.
Dois AD carries full build.
What a banger. Let's take a look at it. So, you know that the main DPS, your Zeri is on Dragon, burning Dragon down. Yagao goes for the chunk on Zeus like they just did in the previous fight. There was no threat on killing him, and then boom. Wukong over the wall.
Caralho.
Owner says, thank you for the leash. And now they've got Ocean Soul, so they have so much sustain in this fight. T1, no, they don't have to rush it. Trying to play it a little bit slow here, chasing BLG, and then
Olha o
once
dano
Darius sees
do
the
Guma
angle
no
onto
chum, mano.
Yagao, good night.
But look at where Guma Yushi's position. No one can really
O
threaten him.
Guma
He
tava
wants
muito
to
bem
get
ali,
these
mano.
feathers into the choke point
Tá
that
lá.
BLG are trying to fight through. So the second you start to push forward as BLG, you're just getting ripped apart by these feathers. Even Bin there, because Owner was positioned beside Guma Yushi, can't really threaten Guma in the spot that he's in. Even having the Feather Storm, really top tier.
Ele roubou sem usar o quê? Roubou sem usar o
Yeah,
quê?
these AD carries are so safe. Whoa, hold on. We are going to get a
Fishing,
face
trying to burn through Carrier. Carrier has no defensive tools of his own, but he might just make it out of safety. Ocean Soul, baby!
Deus,
Heal him up, watch
quero
him walk
ser o
away.
Guma.
Clutch
Não,
from
não,
Carrier
não,
to
não.
make it
Deus
out.
está com a T1.
It's the steal with the salt of the wound there as Carrie is able to escape.
O
but
Deus
it
tá com a
does
T1,
slow
mano.
down
Deus tá
T1
com a
that
T1.
little bit,
É isso.
as they're not going to be able to
Não tem
follow
outra
fully
explicação,
on
mano.
this Baron now.
Chaosed himself for just the tiniest little sliver of hope there to make it out to safety. Credit to him to survive. Obviously, taking out a major engage option could be BLG and Angle to at least slow down this Baron.
Agora a gente tem a Zeri e a Zaya full build,
The
mano.
evolution
Aí é
of
full
BLG.
dedo.
This team that has been underrated all year long, showing up so big here at MSI. I mean, people were saying they couldn't hang with the three top dogs of T1, Gen G, and JDG, but they have that dog in them as well. Let's see if they still can repel this T1 fight, because now they're coming with Ocean Soul, that big advantage, and they're slowly taking away the secondary turrets first.
Owner going over the wall, immediately coming right back.
Mano, vocês não acham que nesse
Getting a
ponto aí
bit of poke here,
o
knowing it'll stick that much more effectively, given that they have
Jax
Ocean Soul on
é
their
menos
side.
não?
Yao waiting, the angle coming in, Owner trying to find a way to the backline. Carrier ready to fall. They're taking their time, they're delaying the re-engage. Carrier trying to find the angle, but now BLG fighting their way back out. How they overcommitted the team now coming in onto the anti-bear. Owner getting cut down, the Ocean Soul not enough. The reset's coming in, the stolen Wukong is all eyes on Guma. Guma, can he do it? But it's Elk getting rooted up, and Elk tearing through the team. If you give BLG an inch, they will take everything from you. Elk, 3 kills in the fight.
BLG refused to go down. Elk steps up, says Guma Yushi, what you got? And the feathers miss by an inch. BLG, they might have just done it.
Incredible push down the mid lane. They found the fight. The reset coming in for Faker.
É, eu não acho que o Jax é menos um que eles estavam falando não, mano. Eu acho que na real o Jax faz bastante coisa, tipo, pula, stuna os caras, tá ligado?
Yes, they have won the fight, but if they do not end the game, it will not mean a damn thing. The wave coming in, Faker has to give his life to clear this wave if he wants to keep the hopes alive here in game 1. 5 seconds on Carrier.
Ele tem TP,
9
não?
seconds. Faker, eyes on the prize, looking to clear the wave. Shun now locked up. Can they find the kill onto Faker before the fight kicks off? Carrier ready to reset, ready to find the CC to protect his mid laner. T1 holding on, but the re-engage is there. Elk gonna grab another 2 with his Owner onto the backside, but Bin has his eyes on the prize, his eyes on the Nexus as T1, as BLG will take the first game.
É, mano, é 1-0, mano, é 1-0, 1-0, 1-0.
They stare him in the face. Nice Ocean Soul also don't care. Owner goes down under that tower, and Elk runs them over.
Olha o Tab, olha o Tab. O Tab é brasileiro já, mano. Olha lá, o Tab, olha o Tab, olha o Tab. Joga muito, galera. Joga muito, galera.
Everybody loves underdog stories.
I love this.
BLG.
Moleque, nessa hora o Tab, nessa hora, sem sacanagem, o Tab tá olhando pro Bin e falando: Bin, my dog, you king, okay? You king, okay? Okay, okay. Giga Bin, do the biceps, Bin.
40 minutes long, back and forth, nail-biting team fights, almost dead even on the gold lead.
Pô, essa Bilibili, mano, é melhor do que eu achava que ia estar, hein, mano.
I love it. Oh, so much fun to watch here.
It came down to just minute details, right? You end up with so many of these steals that are coming through from Owner, who played out of his mind to get those to happen. But even just that flash feather pull at the end from Gumayushi, just barely missing Elk. If those are connected, Elk goes down, and suddenly it's T1 that are ending the game. The fact that it came down to just these minute details.
Mas o que vai acontecer com ela quando ela pegar a JDG? Eu falei que a JDG é o melhor time do mundo, mano. O único time que pode ganhar da... O único time que pode ganhar da JDG é talvez a Liberty. Talvez. Nem sei se a Liberty ganha.